Hey Reddit.
What's your oh frick, I am an asshole moment?
We need your help to grow. Like and subscribe for more daily content. When I realized the reason I've lost so many friends is that I'm so shizzy at getting back to people.
Aw man. This one hits home.
I used to do this thing where, after I have a good time with people, I never see them again because I want to preserve the idea that I'm fun to be around. Then years go by and I finally feel comfortable saying, hey, let's hang out again. And they're like, who are you again?
What's your name? I asked Shara, trying to be playful. Oh cool. Like Sarah with a lisp. I have a lisp. My name is Sarah. Oof.
My dad has a friend named Waymond. He doesn't have a speech impediment. And his name isn't Raymond. But it usually takes him a while to straighten this out when he first meets people. Especially on the phone.
I was drunk at a pub and shouted for the band to play Freebird. They stopped in the middle of the song they were playing, started up Freebird and called me up on stage to sing it. I froze. Forgot all the lyrics and made an absolute ass of myself. Props to that band though.
That right there makes me never want to shout, Free Bird, when I am drunk now.
I once saw a cover band whose lead singer, anytime someone shouted Freebird, would flip them off and go, there ya go. It's free.
Posting on Reddit sometimes makes me reread my shiz and realize I'm being an asshole. I don't do it on purpose. But I think years of reading and writing posts on the internet has tainted my tone.
Try Kegels. And tone your taint instead.
I don't know if I've got so far as being an asshole. Pache. But I've ticked people off by writing without thinking how my words might sound to some people. I'm now trying to limit my comments to positive, informative, or harmlessly funny, and it's great to see hundreds of upvotes once in a while.
I blamed my fart on a mentally challenged boy in 5th grade.
In middle school, I saw a kid walking around with a fanny pack. So I snickered and said, nice fanny pack. He said, it's for my insulin. Just got diagnosed with diabetes.
I was 23 when I found out that I needed glasses for being nearsighted. I did not take the news well. I did not want to wear glasses. My boyfriend went to the store with me and pointed out frames he thought would work well for my face. And he said very encouraging things, while I bitched nonstop about how ugly they all were. Then a woman who was also browsing in the store turned to me and said, could I borrow him? He is so helpful. I was ashamed to realize how I was taking out being upset about my vision on this great boyfriend now husband.
I was in the army. Making fun of a guy. Said he couldn't even get a medal for something in the Special Olympics. He then pointed out his daughter was in the Special Olympics. I profusely apologized. And he accepted. But it still keeps me awake at night.
I once told the joke, what's the hardest part about eating a vegetable? The wheelchair, to a girl in high school. She just stared blankly at me and said, you don't know about my brother. Do you? She then pulled out her phone and showed me her lock screen. A photo of her and her brother, who had been wheelchair bound since birth. Not my most proud moment.
I'm glad you apologized and seemed to learn from your mistake. I am very close with many people with disabilities. Typically we expect people to be uneducated and say rude things, but what matters is if people learn from their mistakes.
I was making fun of an old guy I'd seen outside our school at a basketball tournament to some friends in the locker room. He looked and talked like Farmer Fran from The Waterboy. Turned out to be the dad of one of the guys I was talking to. Still can't even think of that movie without it bringing up endless amounts of shame.
At my former job, my boss was looking out the window and saw this guy get out of his car and head towards out front door. Boss says out loud, oh man, look at this toothless redneck. Coworker says, that's my father-in-law. Boss told me later, that'll teach me, and facepalmed. Coworker wasn't mad. He agreed Phil looked like a hick.
I was a senior in high school and was waiting for my dad to pick me up. At the time, I was also the head student athletic trainer. As my dad pulled up in his 1971 Ford Galaxy with a big old V8 engine, and this was in 1992. A couple of freshman football players commented, "Hey, I wonder whose dad is driving the Uncle Buck mobile." I turned around and glared and said, "Mine." They realized who it was and quickly shut up. It was kinda awesome. And my dad got a kick out of it.
I developed a pretty serious drinking problem. And in one day everyone finally had enough. I got fired, kicked out of my apartment, disowned by my friends and my family. I was left utterly alone. And homeless. With $2,000. And a 1986 Volvo station wagon. It was coordinated between everyone in my life. And it fucking hurt. But I wouldn't take any of it back for the world. Things are far better now. But that was the sort of life event that is supposed to change you. And I let it do so for the better.
Those old Volvo wagons are solid.
Wow, that seems like a strange way for your loved ones to support you, but I'm glad to hear you sound better. Are you and your friends, family okay again?
In early high school, late 90s. So if you got a girl's number, it was the house number. I called a girl's house and her dad answered. She was out, but I noticed his speech was a bit slow and slurred. Next day at school I mentioned I had called. And asked if her dad had been drinking. Well, turns out he didn't drink much since his stroke. Still feel awful about that.
Okay, but what about your relationship with that girl? Were you still friends after, or did she hate you for saying that?
I had a similar one. Told a friend I didn't want to hang out at his house because of his dad's drinking. Didn't realize how hurtful that was at the time.
I was driving down a road and a lot of people were honking and yelling at me on the street. I got angry and flipped a bunch of people off and honked back. At the end of the street I saw a one-way sign and realized I was going in the wrong direction.
The other day I was tailgating behind a car that was tailgating another car doing half the speed limit. I wondered why they didn't honk them. So instead I was about to honk a few times. But something in my subconscious told me to wait. The person between me and the slow driver changed lanes. So I got a good look of a big rear window with flowers. The car is also super long. Oh, it's a hearse. It's going slow, to be careful with the body and flowers. Oh my god, I was so glad I didn't honk.
8th grade. Speech class. A kid had been absent a few days. And when he came back, I started razzing him a bit. We were friendly, but not friends. So I felt okay kidding around. Claiming he was just pretending to be sick to get out of class. That sort of thing. Nothing really mean, though. He took it for a bit. Then turned, looked me dead in the eyes, and said in the flattest voice, "No. My mother died," and turned back around. If God had struck me dead with a bolt of lightning when I stood before him at the pearly gates, I'd have said, "Yeah. Fair enough."
My 7th grade teacher cracked jokes in front of the class. He was known for being a ballbuster after I came back from a few days absent. I did the deadpan, "My papa died." He turned red, sucked in his breath, told me he was gonna go fall on some rocks now, and left me to take my seat.